So what we'll cover today, right? So we'll look at, first look at few of the basic things about agent. We'll understand what agent is and what are different components of the agent. And then we'll run and see the execution of bunch of use cases on agent, right? So I've listed down around 6 use cases on agent that we'll see the execution for, which is, multi-database search using agent, literature review. We'll see how standard and deep review mode works, research gap analysis, creating research drafts, data analysis, creating websites and posters. So I've covered these 6 use cases only, but agent can practically do anything, right? And you can try and see if it works. If it does not, you can tell us, and then we'll try and fix it. But the agent is built for anything research, right? So you can try out and do any kind of research related task on agent, right? And that's why it's built for. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so coming to the agent basics. Okay, so how researchers can benefit from moving to agent from tools, right? So let's first understand what is the difference between, so-called tool and an agent, right? So usually when you look at a tool, it has a bunch of functionalities, and the tool is limited by the functionalities that are built, right? Whereas an agent, it's not limited by the functionalities, right? So whatever you try and ask the agent to do, it will do it, right? So SciSpace agent is very similar to, if I could give you an example which most of you might have used, consider ChatGPT, right? So in ChatGPT, you go ahead and type anything in natural language and it executes it, right? So SciSpace agent is similar, but it has some special abilities with, a general purpose agent like ChatGPT or Anthropic might not have, right? So major difference between a tool and an agent is a tool is limited by functionality, a agent is not. You can ask anything to agent and it will do it, right? The second difference is agent allows you to run a combination of tasks at once, right? So let's say, you want to find a bunch of research papers, then take the first 10 research papers, extract information out of it, create a table, and then write a report out of it, right? In LaTeX format. Let's add LaTeX as well, right? So these are all the things that you want to do, one after the other, right? So for this, you might need a separate tool for, let's say, doing literature review, a separate tool for maybe creating a poster or creating a report. So multiple tools would be needed to execute each and every task here, right? But in agent, what you can do is you can type in each and everything that you need to do execute, one after the other in one single query. And agent will understand all of it and execute it step by step, right? Now for this, we'll see an example on how it's done, right? So I'll just go back to the browser and show you an example. Okay, so I've run a complex query. We will not go into details of this query, but yeah, there are multiple things that I've asked the agent to do in this query. And you can see it's all separated by a semicolon. So one task here, then another task for creating a table, then another task, and finally write a report, right? So there are around 3, 4 tasks here, right? So once you give this query to the agent, what it will do, it will try and understand what all things you want to do and then create a to-do list for itself, right? So as you can see, it analyzed the task requirements and created a to-do list. Let's look at the to-do list, right? Okay, so it created a to-do list and then it gave all the bullet points to itself that okay, these are the things that I want to execute in order to complete this particular task, right? And once this to-do list is created, it will start the execution one by one. So it starts searching for papers on different databases, and as soon as it starts executing, it will also start checking all of these once it's completed, right? So it follows this to-do list to complete all the tasks. And once all the tasks in the to-do list are completed, it will then check everything and give you the final set of output files, right? So here in this case, it has given a final summary. Okay. So it's taking a bit of time to load, but yeah. So basically it writes the summary, but the funda is it can take a bunch of, tasks, bind it together and run it step by step, one by one, right? Okay. So this was one example. Now, uh, let's look at the second point in agent basics, which is intro to prompt builder and agent gallery, right? Okay, so now we'll go to SciSpace homepage. Okay, so there are two, UX that we have created on the website. One is prompt builder and one is agent gallery. The purpose for both is to help the users or anyone who comes to SciSpace to help them understand that what all different types of use cases agent can cover, right? Or agent can handle. It can be single use cases or a combination of use cases that I showed you in the previous example, right? So let's look at both UX, and the aim is to help you understand what all things the agent can cover, and that's why we have built these two interactions, right? So first one is prompt builder, which is here, right? So it has all the different use cases. As you can see, you can click show more and then you'll be able to see more. So what it does is if you click multiple of these, it will create a single query, for doing all those, multiple things that you have clicked. Okay, so let's try one and then we'll understand it better. Let's click search papers. So it added it here, search research papers on here. You can enter your topic. Then I'll click write a report. So search research papers on your given topic and write a report on findings. And let's do PPT presentation. Okay. And then create a PowerPoint presentation. So this is something that you can play around with, and it will add a placeholder. You can enter your topic, let's say cancer, and then you can press enter. It will run that query, right? Now this helps you understand what all different use cases the agent covers, and then you can very easily create a query and then just add your topic on top of it, right? So the next point is natural language query to planned execution. So I think I showed you in the previous example as well, where when you give a complex query which has multiple things and multiple tasks, it first create a to-do list, right? So that's how the agent plan everything based on your given query so that it can do a very structured step-by-step execution. And wherever there is an intermediate output, right, it can create an intermediate output file and show it to you as well, right? So that's what this point is. You type the query in natural language and it does planned execution for it, right? Okay, I'll just go back. SciSpace Agent UI walkthrough and using credits. Okay, so I think let's see if it's stable. Okay. Okay, so I'm on home page. I'll just start from the starting point and run a query, and step by step we'll see the different actions and UI components and features that are available in agent that we can use, right? So I'll just run a very basic query, right? So let's say find papers on cancer. Okay. Okay, so before I run the query, I would tell you few things which you will be able to see here, right? So for running agent, you actually need credits, right? So we have three plans, and based on your plan or based on your tier, you get a bunch of credits, right? So as you can see, I have around 31,000 credits, right? And every time you run a query, based on how complex the task is and how many calls we have to do internally to LLMs or to external databases, we calculate that and then we deduct the credits accordingly, right? So I'll just run a query now. So send. Okay, so it started running the query. On the left side, you can see all the threads that I have previously run. Okay, now it started streaming. It says, okay, I'll go find papers from all these different databases. It is parallelly running all the queries. Okay. It shows the agent is running. So yeah. And then there is a live activity tab on the right. So as soon the agent starts running, every intermediate output that you get, you'll start seeing here. And when the next intermediate output comes, this screen will change and it will start showing the next output, right? Now there is a, bar at the bottom. You can press left and right to see, all the different outputs at different stages. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the search has completed. It has created a combined table with all the results. And if I click this, this is the final, results file. I can see, all the, sorry, really sorry. Okay, so you can see all the papers here, right, in this table. Okay. Now here, after you got the result, you also got a bunch of follow-up questions, which you can click and, do a follow-up task, or you can just type in here as well and perform a follow-up task, right? Now, on the right side, you see live activity and outputs. So live activity, as I explained, it shows all the intermediate outputs and the final output, and you can see all the intermediate outputs by clicking here, right? So you can see that SciSpace search full text output is this, papers from SciSpace full text search, then papers from Google Scholar search. So all these intermediate tables that got fetched are being shown here. If you go to the outputs tab, you'll see all the tables or all the files that were created, that they will come here, right, under all files. So you can click and also view this, right? Now there is also an option to export this table. So if you export it, it will download a CSV file which will have all the papers and all the data points for that particular paper, right? So yeah, so these are some of the main interactions and functionalities. A few other things, you can also share this. You can make it public and copy link and share it with anyone. They can also, see the execution and the outputs of the thread. Right. So yeah, so these are, all the basic functionalities, nothing complex here. Okay. Okay. We'll go back to the presentation. Okay. Yeah, so we had the basic UI walkthrough. Now we'll start covering each of the use cases and see how the execution happens or has happened, and we'll try and understand it, right? Okay, so multi-database search using agent. Okay, so I already showed you in the previous query, but yeah, I'll show you again. So this is a pre-executed query. I've kept, all the examples as pre-executed query because I don't want to, I don't want you guys to wait on the webinar for long. Okay, so we'll see this execution. Okay, so when I say find papers on cancer, uh, what SciSpace Agent does is it tries to find papers on all the popular and prominent and trusted databases for academic research, right? We always try to collect all the recent papers on SciSpace database as well. But in case some things are missed out, we ensure that you get those results, and that's why we also search on Google Scholar, PubMed, arXiv, and databases like that, right? So as you can see, when I did a query for finding papers, it did a SciSpace search, it did a SciSpace full text search, it did Google Scholar search and PubMed search, right? So it searches all the different databases and then combines all the results in one single combined paper table with re-ranked results, right? Which you can, see here, right? So it removes all the duplicates as well when it's combining all the papers, and then, it shows the result in one combined results table, right? So that's how multiple database search works. Now, there are some users who want to include some other websites which may be not known to us or just known to them. For example, let's say if you want to search on ScienceDirect only, right? So what you can do is you can just mention find papers on cancer on ScienceDirect, right? So I've included example here as well. So find papers on cancer on ScienceDirect. So it goes to ScienceDirect specifically, opens that website, goes to search, types in the query, and then searches for paper and gets the paper and shows you here, right? Now, that's why I told you that a agent is different than a tool, because a agent can do everything which you tell the agent to do, right? It's not limited by the functionalities and feature which are built for it, right? So if it would have been a tool, it would be limited by, let's say, number of websites it can go to and number of databases it can access. But here you can just mention any website and it will go to that website and find papers for you. And then it will collect all the papers. It will show you, the papers in a table, right? So now we'll just scroll down and look at the final table here. Okay, so this is the final table. So yeah, it has found all the papers. These are paper names, type, which journal it was published in, and publication date, and then authors and access type as well, right? So pretty good information. Similarly, you can mention any other databases or websites, and it will go to that and get stuff for you, right? So yeah, so it's again not limited by the databases as well, right? So this is multi-database search using agent. Okay, now we'll go to the next use case. Okay, so literature review, standard and deep mode, right? Let's go back to the home page again. Okay, so as you can see here, there is a CTA here called deep research or deep search, right? If you click this, it will get selected, right? And now when you type in a query and submit, it will consider this deep research button to be selected and it will do the tasks and queries accordingly, right? Now I have already ran two queries, one normal query, one deep research query, and we'll compare, the execution and outputs for both, right? Okay, I'll just open these two and then we'll see the differences between the two. Okay, I'll close this. Find papers on cancer, and this is also find papers on cancer. Okay, so this is a normal execution. I think we already saw this. So multiple database search, found papers, re-ranked results, and the final table. Okay. Now, if we do the exact same query using deep search, what would happen is the agent will read your query and it will analyze it to see if you have mentioned enough details in the query or not, right? So now if you see this query, this is a very basic query, right? So now the agent analyzed this query and then it mentioned that it would be better if you include these possible details in your query. Now this is optional. If you want to include it, you can include it. If you don't want, you can exclude it. But it tells you that what would make your query better and your research more detailed, right? So yeah, so based on your query, it kind of asked some clarifying questions. Do you want to include this or this or this or this, right? So for this example, what I've done is I've just, so it also gave a bunch of suggestions for each of the questions. So to run this query, I just picked up one option from each and then I pasted them as comma separated values. And then I just submitted it just for the demo, right? You can give specific answers for each of the questions. So I submitted all of that answer and then it started executing, right? Now if you see here, the different thing than the previous query is here it says deep search completed. So it actually did a different execution which is called deep search. And what happens inside that execution is it actually recreates the whole query. So it takes this and it creates another query and it does a search based on that. So as you can see, I'll show you the complete query here. Okay, so let me just try and zoom in so that you guys can see. Okay, so if you can see this query, which is in the tooltip, it's a rewritten query by agent. So it rewrites the query and it, does a search and then finds paper, right? Based on your inputs. Now, it not just creates one single rewritten query, but it creates five different rewritten queries and it does five different searches, right? So if you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So it has written five different queries and it has done five different parallel searches on SciSpace to find more papers so that no papers are missed out from the search, right? So it is more exhaustive in terms of, finding relevant papers. So that's deep research SciSpace. After that is done, it also does, all the other queries that was done, which was Google Scholar, PubMed, arXiv, clinical trial searched. So all the different, databases as well, right? So it includes results from that as well, right? And then again, similar to the previous execution, it gives you a combined and re-ranked results. Okay. So that's basically the difference between, a normal query and a deep review query, right? Okay. So this was standard and deep mode. We'll move to the next use case, which is research gap analysis, right? Okay, I'll open this and then we'll see the execution. Okay, so I have given a question, a query, perform a research gap analysis on brain cancer, summarize what is already known, what is unclear and conflicting, and major gaps that future research should investigate, right? Okay. Now, based on this query, it started searching for papers, right? Because the task has to be backed by research. Found papers, gave the results. It extracted insights from top papers. Then it started doing the research gap analysis, right? So it did all the analysis, unclear and conflicting areas, right? So it did everything. I'm just scrolling down quickly. It gave all the references and then it gave the analysis report, right, in MD5 with all the citations as well. So you can hover over it and then find the citation. Again, you can, choose to download this MD file as well, right? Yeah, and it has proper format, proper references, all backed by proper citations, right? So this is how, I'm just showing you different examples, what the agent can handle, right? So this is research gap. Now we will go to, okay, so we have covered this research gap analysis and then, okay. So creating research drafts, right? So I've, just added one example, but I have added queries for, different use cases, other use cases as well. We'll look at report writing query, but you can also create manuscript, proposals, grants, anything, right? Uh, okay. Okay. So we'll just look at this query now. Okay, going to the top, generate a clear data-driven technical report in LaTeX format. Okay. Explain findings, implications, and limitations in research on cancer. Right. So there is a very interesting input that I've given here, which is, generate a report in LaTeX format. Okay. So let's see if it is able to do that or not. Again, started with searching all the databases. We'll go down. Okay. So it did all the steps. Going down, compiling the LaTeX report to PDF. So it created a report and then now it's creating a LaTeX report in PDF format, right? So did all the executions. So these are all the code that the agent is running to, to perform the execution. So in the background, what actually is happening is the agent has access to its own desktop or computer where there is a file structure. It creates file, saves file, writes code there, and then executes all the task, right? So internally, that's how things, work. Okay, so if I scroll down, now we have a output file. So I asked the agent to create a report in LaTeX format. And when we open this, you'll see a very beautiful report created in LaTeX format, right? Abstract, background, objective, key findings, Okay, beautifully written contents table, right? If I scroll down even further, let's scroll down. List of figures, okay, list of tables, current state of cancer research, background and rationale, research objectives, right? So it created a very, detailed report. Now, if you want specific things to be in your report, or if you want to give a specific direction, you can, also include those things in this initial query, or you can just, ask a follow-up question. So this is a shared version. I'll just go to the chat version. Okay. So once you have asked given a query, you got the output, you can also here ask a follow-up question and make modifications to whatever output you have gotten, right? So if you want to add any additional things which you may have missed, you can do that via follow-up question as well, right? Again, you can download this LaTeX report as well from here. Okay, so it's downloaded. Okay, going back. So you guys can also try all these use cases. All these links that I've added here are also public, so you can open that and view that again as well. Okay, so that's research writing. Now we'll come to data analysis. Okay, so for this, I'll open this as well. So for this, what I did was I added a CSV file, and then I tried doing data analysis on top of it, right? So I've used a very simple use case, simple CSV, simple data, and a simple task. But you can try with very different, CSVs and very complex tasks as well. It will, definitely do it. I'll just show you, this CSV, and then we'll see how the execution has happened. Okay, let's see if it loads here. Otherwise, we'll just download and open it. Let me open the CSV here. Are you able to see the CSV file?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, cool. So, I just created a, simple CSV, user ID, country, session duration. So this is the data of website visits, right? So user ID, country, session duration, page visited, conversion, whether the user paid or not, right? And this is 100 rows of data, right? So now I uploaded the same CSV here and asked a question: which countries are the most valuable from a conversion and engagement perspective, right? So, okay, I'll just move this here. Okay. So yeah, so what the agent did was I gave the CSV, it downloaded the CSV, wrote a Python code to analyze the CSV. As you can see here, it has written, a Python code. So it has written the code to analyze the CSV to do data analysis, and then it will analyze the data and give you outputs, right? Now, I did not ask to create visualizations, but it also did that, right? So if you can see here, it created visualizations as well. So if I scroll down, after all the execution the agent has done on its own computer, if we look at the final output, you know, it says India is your most valuable market. It has given a score, followed by Germany, Canada, etc. It has created a table for the top 4 countries, given a key insight, right? If I scroll down, it has explained everything in detail with reasoning. And let's look at the output files, what all output files we have gotten, right? Okay, so it has created it in a report format as well, which is again exportable or downloadable. It has created few charts as well for analysis, right? So I'll not go in detail of these charts. While you are running your own queries, you can see, what all things the agent is able to do. But yeah, it has created charts. I think it has created some more charts here as well, right? So India, Germany, Canada, Japan, key metric comparison, engagement session pages, right? Here it has, created a chart for converting and non-converting, countries in terms of average session, page visited, and engagement score, right? And then, country ranking by value scope, right? So it actually did more than what we asked for, right? So it did a very detailed analysis for the CSV that was uploaded, and it created charts as well. Okay. So yeah, so you can try uploading or just, giving random data set and try different things if the agent is able to, perform analysis and tasks or not, right? Okay. So this was data analysis. Now we'll go to few more things. Website. So this is very interesting. So usually you'll see in the market that there are dedicated agents which build websites, right? And they are very good at it. But as a researcher does not need complex things on their website. They just need, simple website with simple, information on their website which they can quickly publish or share with, their peers, right? So SciSpace Agent also has that ability to, build basic website with all the information that you have given, and it publishes it as well, which you can, just copy the link and share with anyone, right? So we'll see one of those executions where a website was created. Okay, we'll scroll up. Okay, so create a conference management website with submission portal, peer reviews workflow, automated schedule generation, and live streaming for hybrid session. Okay, so we have asked a lot of complex things to the agent to do. We'll see if it's able to do everything. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Okay. Okay. So it has done all the execution again on its own computer. It wrote a bunch of code. So anybody, any of you, if they are familiar with HTML and the different types of files that are created for building website, you'll find all these extensions familiar like HTML, JS, and things like that, right? So it created a website. It wrote the code, and then it published the website as well. So here is the link to the website. As you can see, it loads on the right side. It has created a website. I'll just open it in a new tab so you guys can see properly. Okay. So yeah, so this is basically the website. If I scroll, it has a bunch of information. Okay. Submit your paper, access dashboard. Yeah. Reviews, start review. So I did not give a lot of information for the website creation, right? But still, it took a lot of assumption and just created a dummy website with a lot of different details and information. But if you are creating a website and you have specific data points that we need to show, you can, actually give those data points and it will create website accordingly. Now, if you have, let's say, a bunch of PDFs, you can also upload those PDFs. Let's say if you want to create your own portfolio website and you have full text of your research paper that you have written, you can actually upload those research paper in the SciSpace agent and ask to create a website where those PDFs are, linked. Uh, and it will, create a PDF viewer as well on the website where you can, or anybody can come and view those PDFs. So you guys can, maybe try different things with the agent and see if it works or not, right? So yeah, so this is the kind of website that agent can create. Uh, Now we'll go back and look at the last use case, which is research poster generation, right? I'll just open this. So in the previous thread as well, when we were doing data analysis, you guys saw that even when we did not ask for a poster generation, it still did data analysis and created a research poster, right? Uh, Not specifically a research poster, but a kind of poster where all the different charts were there, right? Uh, but research poster, I'm assuming, would be slightly different. So we ran a query, design a poster for a psychology symposium summarizing an experiment on memory retention. Okay, and some additional details. Okay, so we ran this again. To do was created for literature search, insight extraction, content creation, and then finally poster preparation. Right. Okay, so we'll scroll down and see. the kind of poster it was able to create. Okay. So as you can see here, you know, it actually created a very interesting one-page poster with all the key information, and it also included a QR code, contact info, and institution logo. The logo might not be loading, so if you provide your own attachment, it might add it to the poster. But yeah, this is, a very beautifully done one-page research poster, right? With all the information that was asked for, right? So similar, so these are very, minimum set of use cases that I have shown you here, right? There are n number of cases that you can run on agent and try out, right? So I would suggest that you try it yourself. I've shown you very simple queries, to keep things simple, but try different queries, complex queries, long queries, and see for yourself whether it works for you or not. Okay. I think that's it. Over to Deepak.